Have you ever really stopped to think about the stories hidden inside the most ordinary, everyday objects, like a grocery list, or an old concert ticket, or, in this case, a simple church newsletter? Okay, let's dive into this because we are about to follow a thread that starts in a tiny town in New York and somehow unravels across 2,000 years of history. So, our story starts right here, a quiet little community in upstate New York. It looks like 1,000 other small towns you might drive through. But as you're about to see, this very modern, very normal-looking place is just page one of a much, much older story. And this is the big question that kicks everything off. What secrets could a simple church newsletter possibly hold about 2 millennia of history? I mean, it sounds kind of impossible, right? Well, stick with me because the answer is honestly pretty incredible. And here it is. This is our key, our artifact. It's just a weekly bulletin from a couple of parishes in upstate New York. And yeah, on the surface, it's just a schedule, some community news. But hidden inside are these amazing clues to a global story of sacrifice, incredible courage, and how we remember. All right, let's start unpacking this thing. Tucked away in the bulletin, there's this short little biography of a really remarkable woman. And this is our first character, a saint who actually started her journey not too far from where this very bulletin was printed. This is St. Marianne Cope. So she was born in Germany, but she grew up right in Utica, New York, and eventually joined the Sisters of St. Francis in Syracuse. She was this gifted leader, a fantastic hospital administrator, but her life took this huge, dramatic turn when a call for help came all the way from Hawaii to care for people with leprosy, a disease that, back then, absolutely terrified the rest of the world. And her response to that call? Wow. It's what's truly remarkable. Get this. After more than 50 other religious orders had said no, Marianne wrote back, "I am hungry for the work. I am not afraid of any disease." That just gives you a sense of the kind of courage we're talking about here. And what's so crucial is that she didn't just go. She completely transformed the situation. She and her sisters, they brought order and dignity and even joy to these settlements of outcasts. They set up hospitals, schools, homes, and she made this incredible promise to the sisters who came with her, that none of them would ever contract the disease. Amazingly, to this very day, that promise holds true. So, okay, we have this incredible story of a modern saint right there in the bulletin. But this is where our little investigation takes a really surprising turn, connecting her story to a world that feels just impossibly far away. Let's go back to the bulletin, to the schedule. Look closely here. See, there's a Mass scheduled for Friday, January 23rd. And according to tradition, that is St. Marianne's feast day. But here's the thing. She isn't the only one celebrated on that date. She actually shares it with someone who lived 1,500 years before she was even born. And this brings us to our second main character. So we're leaving 19th century America and Hawaii in the rearview mirror, and we're traveling all the way back to the 4th century Roman Empire, to the city of Saragossa in what is now Spain. Here we meet 2 men. There's Bishop Valerius and his young deacon, Vincent. Now, the bishop, he had a speech impediment, so he appointed Vincent to basically be his voice, to preach and speak for him. Well, that arrangement put Vincent, the young deacon, directly in the line of fire. And you have to remember, this was a really dangerous time. The Roman Emperor Diocletian was launching this brutal persecution of Christians. Both Valerius and Vincent were arrested. But while the bishop was just exiled, Vincent, the powerful speaker, was subjected to these unspeakable tortures because he refused to give up his faith. He died a martyr around the year 304. Now, over hundreds of years, some pretty wonderful legends grew up around Vincent. One says his donkey accidentally taught farmers how to prune grapevines by nibbling on them. Another connects his torture to a wine press, which is why he became the patron saint of winemakers. And most famously, it's said that when his body was thrown into the sea, ravens protected it. And just like that, we have these 2 figures separated by 15 centuries, totally different worlds, but they're connected by a single date in a small town bulletin. Let's just put their stories side by side for a second. I mean, look at this. The contrast is just wild. On one side, you have Vincent, an ancient martyr from the Roman Empire, whose story comes down to us through these old legends. And on the other, Marianne, a modern American nun whose life is meticulously documented in letters and historical records. He died for his faith. She lived for it through decades of service. And this brings us right back to the bulletin itself.
The gospel reflection for that very week has this line in it: I have seen and I testify. I mean, what a perfect theme, right? Vincent testified with his death. Marianne testified with her life. Two completely different paths, two different eras, but the same act of witness, remembered together on the very same day. But how do these huge, global stories, one ancient, one modern, even stay alive? Well, they do it through big national traditions and these tiny local customs that connect all of us across time. So, on a grand scale, St. Vincent is remembered as the patron saint of Lisbon, Portugal. His story is literally woven into the city's identity. Its coat of arms has a ship with two ravens on it, a direct callback to that legend we just heard. It's just a powerful way an ancient story stays alive in the very fabric of a modern city. But memory also lives on in these smaller, more charming ways. Back in Vincent's hometown of Saragossa, they have this delicious tradition. To honor his bishop, Valerius, locals eat these ring-shaped cakes called roscones. They're meant to look like a crown. It's just a simple pastry that keeps a 1,700-year-old memory alive. And this brings us right back to where we started, to a small church in Sable Forks, New York. By printing a bulletin that marks January 23rd, this little community becomes another link in that same long chain of memory, connecting the stories of a Spanish martyr and an American nun. So, the ultimate takeaway is this: an incredible, globe-spanning story connecting the Roman Empire to the Hawaiian Islands was just sitting there, hidden in plain sight, in a weekly newsletter. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other extraordinary stories are out there, just waiting for us, right under our noses, in the things we see every single day?